Okay, let's go here. Since the Odyssey trailer dropped a couple days ago, let me just say this about the Odyssey movie. It's Christopher Nolan. The hype is not there for me. I don't know why. Will it make money? Yes. Will it make Oppenheimer money? No. I watched the Odyssey trailer 3 or 4 times. It's not there for me, y'all. Will I go see it? Yes. But maybe 3 months ago, when you mentioned the Odyssey, I'm like, yeah, buddy. Now after seeing the trailer, I'm like, okay, I'll get there when I get there. Like the anticipation levels have dropped for me. It has dropped for me. It's not like, no. When that first Oppenheimer trailer dropped, I was like, oh my fucking God, this is going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. Christopher Nolan can do no wrong. Now, I do trust that Nolan will make a great film, but it's not, the hype is not there for me, y'all. I'm just like, It's like that moment when I went down to LA to go see the Hidden History Museum when Tariq was still building the shit. And I went down there and I was like, it's in the hood. I was like, Yeah, it was like, I was like, yo, we're about to go see the Hidden History Museum. Y'all, I'm gonna go find this shit. And it's in the hood. And I look, I'm like, That's what I got from the Christopher Nolan trailer of the Odyssey. Let's go here. Oh, we got to talk about the Odyssey one more time. Why are we talking about the Odyssey one more time? Because apparently somebody else shares my sentiments about the Odyssey. They too were not moved by the trailer. In fact, their expectations were lowered by watching the trailer. I don't think I need y'all to understand how big of a disappointment the trailer was for me. I'm speaking for myself. Now, look at this cast. Look at this cast. No, not the book. Damn it. I wanted the cast. Now, once again, these are my opinions, but it's funny when people tend to think alike, which is kind of scary, right? Where is the cast? Give me the cast. Sir, give me the look at this cast. This is stacked. Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Robert Pattinson, Lupita Nyong'o, Zendaya, Charlize Theron, Logan Marshall Green, John Bernthal, The Punisher, Mia Goth, Elliot Page. This mofo plays Achilles. Y'all owe who directed Troy 2004? I don't feel like looking. Who directed Troy 2004? Y'all owe that director, that producer, every actor in that movie a huge apology. I remember how upset everybody was at Troy. Like it was a great film, but people were just unhappy at the lack of historical inaccuracies and that's not right and that's not true and that's not right and that was a phenomenal movie. Who directed that? Who directed Troy? A phenomenal movie. Those people that worked on that movie from in front of the camera and behind the cameras are owed a huge apology. Brad Pitt, Eric Bana, you know what I'm saying? That cast was stacked. Sean Bean's in that, you know? Let's continue. Elliot Page is playing freaking Achilles. Let's continue. Benny Safdie, John Leguizamo, Ryan Hurst, Sons of Anarchy. He's been cast as Kratos. James Remar, Samantha Morton, Josh Stewart, Himesh Patel. This is a stacked ass cast. Super stacked. Was it Wolfgang Peterson? Everybody owes Wolfgang and Brad and everybody on that movie that worked on that movie a huge apology. Now, once again, this is a super stacked cast, and that trailer did not do nothing for me. It did nothing for me. Am I going to see it? Yes. Am I less enthused? Yes. Have I lowered my expectations? Yes. Am I a Nolan sycophant? No. Will I spend extra money to go see it in IMAX? No, it's not that serious. Never will be. So let's go here. No, not here. Here. Okay. Once again, I literally just said this last night that I was not moved by the trailer. Matter of fact, the trailer lowered expectations for me. Now the Critical Drinker is saying the same thing. I think a lot of people just kind of too scared to come out and say, I'm worried. Only a few of us will actually voice our opinions, for the world to critique. People are scared to say that they're worried about this movie. I'm hearing it. I got friends. They're like, hey, I don't know, man. It's weird. It's getting weird. And then let's go to the source material. Come on, let's go.
Why the fuck does it feel so bland? Well, to try and answer this, let's take a closer look at those key elements again, shall we? First of all, there's the source material. Nothing wrong there, right?
Wrong.
Well, the problem is that the Odyssey was originally written in ancient Greek, obviously, meaning that it has to be translated into English for it to be legible. And what kind of story you ultimately get very much depends on which translated version you read. In this case, Christopher Nolan has publicly stated that he's a big fan of the 2017 adaptation of the Odyssey, which was translated from Greek by British
by Emily Wilson. If you know who this woman is, this is why people are worried. So, this trailer did not move me. This is the version that he's going to go with by a feminist. She is a feminist. And now I have to lower my box office expectations. I think this thing does $800 million. I don't think it will get nowhere near close to Oppenheimer. I think this thing will hang out about $800 million. I had to lower my expectations for this movie. Let's continue.
Writer Emily Wilson. Why exactly does that matter? Well, because Emily Wilson just so happens to be a hardcore progressive feminist who specifically set out to reimagine Homer's text through a female-coded, gender-critical, postmodernist lens. Because of course.
Okay. So let's take a look at how she wrote it or how she reimagined. Emily Wilson. Okay. Let's go. Let's see what she says. Once again, first red flag, first complete translation by a woman. That's a red flag. Okay. Written in iambic pentameter with a focus on speed, clarity, and directness, it offers a contemporary, accessible take that highlights the poem's themes of power and identity, often using precise, non-sanitized language regarding gender and enslavement. I'm not liking. Wilson, a classicist at the University of Pennsylvania, is the first woman to translate the entire poem into English, bringing a fresh, non-masculinist perspective to the text. I'm good. This is why people are worried. Of all the versions you wanted to use, you went with this one. Let's go here.
Double down. Emily Wilson is not just a bad translation of Homer. She is not even a translation of Homer. Some months ago, I put out a reel expressing my criticisms of Emily Wilson and her translations of Homer, and especially of the Odyssey. This is something I've talked about at length before. But the most controversial part of the reel that I put out was my claim that Homer's not supposed to even be accessible. Now, I got a million comments like, oh, he was recited to children. Yes, we are not illiterate Bronze Age Greeks. The purpose of studying the classics is to attempt to put ourselves in the mind of the past, not to change the past to bring it to our sensibilities and our taste. I want to read a little bit of Alan Bloom's preface to his translation of The Republic, because I think it's pertinent here. The translator should conceive of himself as a medium between a master whose depths he has not plumbed and an audience of potential students of that master who may be much better endowed than is the translator. His greatest vice is to believe that he has adequately grasped the teaching of his author. It is least of all his function to render the work palatable to those who do not wish or are unable to expend the effort requisite to the study of difficult texts. That is not what Wilson is doing. Wilson is using translation as a cover to do interpretation. And I think this is really made clear when she talks about responsibility as a theme in the opening of the Odyssey. Take a listen.
Tell me about a complicated man. Muse, tell me how he wandered and was lost when he had wrecked the holy town of Troy, and where he went and who he met, the pain he suffered on the sea, and how he worked to save his life and bring his men back home. He failed, and for their own mistakes they died. They ate the sun god's cattle, and the god kept them from home. So I think you can see that that's a passage about leadership, responsibility. So there's a real question about whose fault is it that out of all these men who lead...
Okay, now I remember that particular passage from the book, right? Yeah. The king told them, hey, don't eat none of the cattle. I believe the men got drunk, and one of the men kind of just darted off and ate the cattle, and he got punished. He had to come back and tell the king, hey, my bad, and I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, bitch, like, okay, this is why. This is why I believe that this version of Odyssey from Christopher Nolan won't do as well as people are going to want it to. The source material is problematic. It's highly problematic. Okay, highly problematic.
12 shiploads full of men. Only one gets home.
All right, now you've heard her take. Let me show you my translation. This is me showing you with the Greek. You can do your own work here too. He sought to win both the life and homecoming of his comrades, but not his comrades draw them in, despite his efforts. They, for their own recklessness, were destroyed. Disconnected fools, they went down, and the cattle of Hyperion the sun they ate. And then he took away their homecoming day. If you look at the text itself, there are three actors there. There's Odysseus, there's his comrades, and there's Hyperion, god of the sun. Two of those are plausible causes for the death of the comrades. Odysseus is the third. And yet, we see Wilson sneakily manage to find a way to craft a translation in which she gets to blame Odysseus. Yeah. She does the same thing with the suitors, by the way. But this is a lot bigger than just translating classics. It's about the spirit we bring to understanding the meaning of what other people are saying in general. It's not a coincidence that all the people who are most vociferously defending Emily Wilson's translation...
Listen, you know he's about his shit because you see the Greek hero right behind him. You see that? The Greek hero behind him. He's on point. I'm with this guy 100%. Come on, let's go. Some of y'all, this is y'all first time... I know, because some of y'all don't like to read. That's okay. I'm here to educate you at some point. At some point, you're going to learn something new. All right? This is why the Odyssey, I don't think is going to do as well as people think. Because once people start to peel back the layers and really dig into how this tale is being told, yeah, problematic.
Are exactly the same sorts of people who will maliciously misinterpret your words, not in Bronze Age Greek, but in contemporary English. They're not trying to understand, but they are trying to use your words against you. And they're always the ones who think that they stand for empathy in politics.
Okay, I'm with him. I'm with him. I'm with him. I'm with him. This is not going to be well.
Limits of the original text to bend it around modern sensibilities. It's the same kind of creeping, cloying, well, I think what he really meant to say here was bullshit that gave us 2026's Animal Farm, a story that went from a parable about the Russian Revolution to a ridiculous, shallow, capitalism bad piece of Hollywood slop. That is the version we're likely to get here with all its gender identity navel-gazing, and if that doesn't raise a few red flags, then let's take a closer look at that all-star cast, shall we? Now, Matt Damon and Anne Hathaway are solid enough as the two leads, at least. I mean, if I was to be super critical, I'd say that Hathaway hasn't done anything particularly significant since, well, the last time she was in a Christopher Nolan movie, and she was arguably the worst thing about Interstellar, but that's...
I hated her character. She was so stupid. Yeah, hey, come on, man. Okay, let him cook.
That's a conversation for another day. I can't say I'm ever particularly excited by an Anne Hathaway project, but holy shit, is she making a comeback this year. In 2026 alone, she's in 5 separate movie projects, one of which is playing in the cinemas right now. But speaking of overexposed actors that we could all use a break from, Zendaya is in this movie as Athena, the goddess of wisdom.
Damn.
Holy fuck, man. This girl's become the female equivalent of Pedro Pascal. She is just everywhere all of a sudden, and for the life of me, I cannot understand why. I have never seen a single...
Okay, and I'm going to give you the number one reason why this movie is going to underperform. And it's the reason you can all pretty much already know. The one particular casting that is going to drive people off the wall. And even I was like, why would he do this? Why would he do this? You're trolling your fans. You're trolling white people at this point. We'll get to it.
Daya performance in my life and thought, oh my god, she absolutely carried this movie. Tell me, what's your favourite Zendaya expression? The angry frown, the confused frown, or the confused angry frown?
Yes.
Elliot Page is also in this movie. As what exactly? I don't fucking know. A drummer boy maybe? Page is like 5 feet tall and weighs 90 pounds soaking wet, so I don't really see how they're gonna fit in amongst all those big Greek soldiers and terrifying monsters. Lupita Nyong'o is widely rumoured to be...
This is why. If she is cast as Helen of Troy, this movie is doomed. Once again, they've been hiding the character she's been cast for ever since she was cast in this movie. Why would you do that? Why would you not put her in a trailer? Why are you hiding her? You're only going to make this worse once it gets down, when the review embargo lifts, once people see that, oh, you really cast her as Helen of Troy, they're going to pummel this movie just based off this casting alone. Why would Nolan do this? Is beyond me. It is completely beyond me. But let's continue. And we'll wrap this up here.
Playing the Greek princess Helen of Troy, which if it turns out to be true would make about as much sense as Papa Asuido playing Severus Snape, but hey, what can I say?
It's Hollywood, baby.
Thank you, Rachel. But the thing that stood out for me about the entire cast in this trailer was just how bland and mundane they all look and sound. Every time I saw one of them, all I thought was, oh yeah, there's Robert Pattinson, there's Charlize Theron, there's Tom Holland. Where are the larger-than-life mythical figures of legend that should be leaping from the pages of Homer's epic to amaze us all?
Hey, everybody owes them people that worked on Troy a huge apology. We'll see if I'm right or not.